It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 10 of The Walking Dead. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a sneak peek that they released from the upcoming episode of The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 20, which is called Splinter. If you have not watched Episode 19, you can still watch this breakdown because it's not going to reveal anything about the previous episode. There isn't really any spoilers in here as far as Episode 19 goes. But if you have seen the episode, you might also want to watch my reaction to that episode, which is up if you're interested. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break this down. Alright, before we get into this, as always, if you're not a subscriber and enjoy the content by the end, consider subscribing to join our community, share and smash the like button, and press the bell to be notified when we upload. So with that said, let's jump right into it. So there isn't really too much in this sneak peek. We pretty much have one of the soldiers that we saw at the end of Season 10, Episode 16, the official end of Season 10, interrogating Princess. Now for non-comic readers, the soldiers that we saw at the end of that episode who will be featured in Season 10 Episode 20 are from a new community that are going to be introduced that appeared in the comic book as well, named Commonwealth. Now, in this particular sneak peek that they released, where we have one of their soldiers interrogating Princess, we pretty much have him asking Princess about who she is, where she comes from, and what she did before the fall happened. We heard parts of this particular scene in the main trailer that they released for the bonus episodes of Season 10. But there's like one comedic scene right here where the guy asks, "What is your name?" Princess, after avoiding that question for a little bit, finally answers with Princess. So she calls herself Princess, to which the guy responds with, "You think this is a joke?" which is pretty funny. But other than that, the other question that this particular soldier asks Princess is about where she came from. And again, after avoiding that question for a little bit, she responds with Pittsburgh. So she's from Pittsburgh. Now there's a bunch of very interesting things happening here. The first being why Princess is trying to avoid the questions like this. Like for example, she could have easily said her name was Juanita. She didn't need to say Princess. And also, why does it matter where she's from? Why did she kind of avoid that question until she had to answer? So there's a few questions here that makes things very interesting, and it raises the question whether Princess has anything to hide. Now, obviously, this particular sneak peek debunks the theory that was going around that Princess was with the Commonwealth soldiers, because if she was, they wouldn't be interrogating her. So that theory is out the window, but there's still something that Juanita or Princess is hiding. At least she's trying to hide it from the Commonwealth soldiers. Why is that? That's a very, very kind of interesting topic that may come up when we watch this episode. The other thing that makes this very interesting is that Juanita says that she's from Pittsburgh. There are some rumors and speculation that the Commonwealth in the TV version is going to be in Pittsburgh. If that is true, then there could be some sort of a connection that they could make there. Now, obviously in the comic book, Commonwealth were in Ohio, not in Pittsburgh, but that's a remix that some fans think they will do. But at the same time, I do remember an interview that Angela Kang did where Scott M. Gimple, who's the chief content officer, advised her not to kind of do anything in that area, meaning Pittsburgh, because he had plans for that area. So there is a possibility that the Rick Grimes movies will actually take place in that area. Hence why Gimple didn't want Angela Kang to kind of take the story there with the Commonwealth. Of course, this is not 100% confirmed, but we could kind of fill in some of the gaps based on the interviews that they've done. But regardless, it's interesting that Juanita kind of avoids answering the question where she's from, and then finally responding with Pittsburgh. Again, we might learn more about why they did that when we watch this episode, but something to keep in mind. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is how this could be a remix of the comic story. So in the comics, when the characters are taken back to Commonwealth, they meet Commonwealth's bookkeeper named Lance Hornsby. Now, visually looking at Lance, there is a lot of similarities between how he looks, particularly his hairstyle, and how this particular soldier looks. that we see in this sneak peek. Now, obviously, the biggest difference is that in the TV version, Lance, if this is Lance, is wearing a Commonwealth soldier uniform rather than a suit like he was wearing in the comics. The other big difference is that we actually saw Lance pretty much at the same time when we actually saw Commonwealth itself. But in the TV version, it looks like they're remixing it a little bit and having Lance appear a little bit earlier than how he was introduced in the comics. Of course, the bonus episodes had a lot to do with it. Like, if there was no bonus episodes, I'm sure that they would have followed the comics and had Lance appear in the same kind of way that he was in the comics around the time when we actually got to Commonwealth. But because they did the bonus episodes, I feel like that's just one of the remixes that they had the opportunity to do, and they did. Now, in terms of what he's wearing, of course, like I said, he's wearing a Commonwealth military uniform rather than a suit, so that's extremely interesting. In some ways, that's more realistic, because if Lance is traveling with the Commonwealth soldiers, he would want to, one, stay safe and secure from the zombies, just like the other Commonwealth soldiers, and second, he might not want to be recognized. So because of these two reasons, I could see why they're doing this in the TV version, just to keep it a little more realistic. But at the same time, it's going to be interesting to see whether this just happens this one time, or whether Lance is going to be dressed like that all the time. So something else to keep in mind. Now, in terms of whether this is confirmation that this is Lance Hornsby or not, I think that there's a very good chance that this is a confirmation and a reveal that this is Lance, and we're going to see him in season 10 episode 20. But at the same time, because they didn't reveal his name or anything or what he does, or at least from what we can see in the sneak peek, there is a possibility that they're gonna leave it open just in case they actually cast someone else for Lance, or if they change their plans a little bit. But as far as where we are right now, I feel like it's a safe bet to say that this is Lance right here. But that's everything I wanted to talk about in this sneak peek breakdown. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to share and smash the like button. If you're not a subscriber and enjoyed the content, subscribe to join our community and press the bell to be notified when we upload. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.